Our speaker today was born in Khum province in eastern Tibet in 1965. He became a monk in 1977 at age 12. He left Tibet in 1986, but continued his Buddhist studies in India. After 20 years of study, he achieved the title of Geshe in 2005, Geshe Tsering Dondrup, and his English translator Lobsang Dondrup, who is also the spokesperson for the monks, was born in 1979 and became a monk at age 10 in 1989. Both live at the Drepung Loseling Monastery, primarily at its location in India, but also at its location in Atlanta.
So, like Adam has already introduced, Geshe-la and me from Drepung Loseling Monastery, where we have more than 4,000 monks. So, studying there in India. We, after 1959, after the problems with the Chinese communists, so we were able to re-establish a monastery in India, where start with maybe 200 monks, and now we have such a great numbers of monks coming from Tibet, and so we do have many Chinese monks in our monastery as well. So it's not that we are totally against Chinese people. We have a very beautiful Chinese people. Even one of my best friends is also Chinese. Really, seriously. So really, we are very close. We have a lot of common things, and we share a lot of things with them. And it's problems with some of the people from the government. So this I want to make sure. So in that way, anyway, we look at our situation as one of, we look at the situation from the bright sides. After the, 1959, we have more friends in this world, and we were able to see more people, and, we were able to benefit more peoples through our understanding. We were able to share our cultures in a more, effective ways, and it really, the philosophy of the compassion and wisdom is not something that we have to be kept, isolated, but it really needs to be shared with the people. So that is the purpose of living a compassionate way of life. So that's why we really understand it from another aspects. So we really enjoy losing our country. So so it slides down there. So we belong to the Drepung Loseling Monastery based in India. So Geshe-la has already accomplished the monastic studies. We spent about 15 to 20 years, and after 20 years studies, we finished the monastic studies in our monastic kind of, we call it monastic university, but there's no kind of registered university, not in India, not in Tibet. We are just a refugee in there, but we call it monastic university, like the Nalanda tradition, preserving the Nalanda traditions. So we study the philosophy through very intellectual ways, and mainly through the debates, and which is very, you can learn the things through debate, which is a great fun to debate. And there's always, even we from our monastery we have more than 3,000 or 4,000 monks, and some other monastery where there has 2,000 monks, 3,000 monks, and sometimes we have a joint debate, and where you can see thousands of monks and debating, and once you respond in some funny way, everybody laughs together. But it doesn't make sense. But it really doesn't make sense to some people. It's a tough question. This is that they, messed up something in there, and through the intellectual debate, sometimes they have to say like, I am not I am. There's no one. There's no chair. Sometimes they have to say like this. Then debate. Sometimes they have to mess up everything. So if it is the case, then it will be in their way. Given that, there will be the case. Given that, there will be the case. This way, the techniques of a debate is to enrich your understanding about the reality and to try to associate your mind more towards the reality and accepting the reality and seeing the reality, and then through this way you remove the mental obscuration towards seeing the reality. That way you enlightened yourself. So that kind of the studies we do in our monastery. So we have this system of studies. We spend about 20 years to accomplish all the studies of Buddhism. So Geshe-la and I accomplished all this education. So I am kind of just graduated, but still I have some more years to review and to get higher studies, tantric studies, more deep into tantric studies. So this is just introductory to our studies and monasteries in India. So then Geshe-la is going to talk about mandala, so which you will definitely enjoy knowing the significance and the purpose and the symbols of the mandala. So thank you for having us here, and also thank you showing such a great number of people interest. Thank you so much coming here.
holding on lo ya jaza ta chunggo gun de jaza la ya da be mombo shira pe jaza samology mise ge go chunggo de chisho dan de yesu zane chisho lo ya mise ge ji donan chimbo ye be ta ze ro yesu zane habar do chunggo lo ya donan shio jenen de pe ya de ya 먼저 be juso yaranda ngaji shigo yes.
So today such a great numbers of people showed up. It is really I really appreciate that you guys were able to make it, and also I understand this is really a great sign that we really cares about inner peace. So this is really, which is kind of crucial to this modern world, to have more people value the inner peace. So I really appreciate every one of you to have this kind of interest in knowing more about mandala and the significance.
Jazan bage ji choose the damba ta zamule digana ya misege go ji ta jide ke babu kin lege da kin melenge tendege ri anji chilu namara naso yore de ti chane ma ji chilu dege samala ma lajan anda de ya 타입에 심지 간대진 바이나야고 등에 만데 바다 대원대 바 샤다에 수산에 된제게 마 대제기 제도 마 랍잔나야로 샤다에 수산에 나라도 줄로 3월로 베게지 간대진 바이나 찌질로 규소르다 찌질로 규샵 변조 통람 저게 뺏게 좀 차대요.
So in terms of inner peace, not only this mandala and philosophy that we have from the Buddhism, but there is many religions who also talks about inner peace, the compassion, loving kindness, forgiveness. So those are actually really, all those religions are all the religious message instruction are focusing on developments of inner peace. So I really, we all needs to appreciate others' religious as well, and there is no a single religious or say belief or say kind of method that is the best method to everyone. So your medication is the best medications for you, and there's no a common best medications for all. So that's why we can say you cannot have that medication. You have to, if suppose someone has a headache, and if you feel it like you need to cure the headache, you have to give a medicine to headache and not for the food ache or something, some other things, so stomach ache or something. You can't say that you have to take the medication for the stomach ache that I used to take. You can't say like that. So you have to appreciate what he is doing and what he or she is taking, and in the same like foods, and there some have some allergies to some other foods, and so we have to appreciate, and we have to go by kind of whatever the appropriate that his body is associated with and his body is favorable with. So that's why there is no point to disrespect towards other religions. So we really need to appreciate all the religions, and all these religions are very important to enrich our understandings about inner peace. So we have to cherish all these valuable, all these precious instructions, and Buddhism itself is not complete. So we need another radical understanding, approach, perception, to enrich our understandings. To this way, we really need to appreciate each other, religious to religious, and because the founder of the religious are those who really cares about the inner peace of all the beings, all the sentient beings. And if the followers of the religious make the source of peacefulness turn this religious itself into some problematic, then there's no use, there's no point to follow that path. So that's why I really appreciate all the religions that ever exist in this world, and not only the Buddhism, all the religions carry the essence of peace.
jazan dare zo zane da zambale digan ya ji chi ngubo penjo zane jaba yana da be shraga se toba ya jele ya le de yore de di nyamdale ya nansem de ya je de shra chi mar jada sen hajang bege se mawo cha de zo zane chi penjo ya je chi ba na je ga nansem de ya je da ma to wa yana ngana zo namshi jele ya da be 강의 시부 체가 다 변형하 시부 레더 저다 다 생이 강의데 세야야 치 변조 주보 세도요 말에 대인소자 난생이 베게 강의 세야 될야 다 주주 간데제 임바야나 취날 마송자들 랍자 되게지 남네 진이 취소고 돈에다 마세 강의 세야다 답시 야시리 차대 조사네 말아도 사말로 베게 지 디골에 슈자게 베게 좀 차대 그랬어.
So the inner peace that we have to value, especially in these modern times, why we need to value the inner peace is that we are actually experiencing highly developed world in terms of material, in terms of technology, and the development the technology and the material development that we experiencing are basically more than enough. So the material gain, all the technology, material gain is not really the final solutions to it's not the final solution to our problem. So it's not the final answers what we are looking for. Every individual human beings in this world and all the sentient beings, even the animals, are looking for some kind of sense of peace, happiness. And in order to gain an answer to that happiness, people try to accumulate wealth and try to have a fancy house and the cars and the building and all the stuff. But we have found such great numbers of people, billionaires, millionaires, who are very, very much depressed than really poor people. It really proves that the material development is really not the answer for what we are looking for. So that's why happiness is only just comes from our mind and contentment. Happiness is just the feelings that we enjoy. And when we have a nice car, we directly enjoy the feeling of belongingness of that car, the color of it, smells of it, and the speeds of it. And so we enjoy the name, the fames. That makes that the feeling of that first we encounter, first thing that we enjoy is this feeling. And then we try to find the things that gives the feeling. So once you were able to change something in there, switch something in there, you don't need this kind of, development or too much things. So we are really more than enough. And if you keep doing things in that way, just find out something peace, happiness within the material developments, you will never ever find from there. And since we are now going beyond the limits of the material developments, it will probably cause more troubles. And we need to balance. We have to be wise and how much peace it can give you. Suppose you buy a new car, how much peace it can give you and how much troubles it can give you. To attachment, even people may have a bad look at the car, you get angry. Of course, if someone scratches you, you can die. So how, peace it can give you, and compare with the peacefulness that it can provide you and the problem it can provide you. If you really are wise, then you'll see if the problems that it gives you, and better not to have that. But abandonment of the physical thing is really not the good ways to practice to find the peace. We have to be so balanced. It doesn't mean that you have to give up everything, go to some forest and wild. We have to be so balanced, but the more value that we have to give it's about the mind. It's about the mental peacefulness, not just merely accumulating the wealthy. Is not a good way to find a peace. And the main thing is from inner movement, inner change. So that we have to take more care about that. And then we do need, because of biological and because of how we exist, we do need foods and shelters and everything. We need everything, the physical things and the material things, but it needs a limits. It has a limits that favorable to your body and environment, family, everything. So if you keep finding, accumulating material gains, material things, then you will never find satisfactory in that.
산지비 쥐 나노라야 베게 데제니 도쇼당 아쇼고 베게 데제니 잡여러저다 데니 나네다 나쇼 공차도래 하장하던 니베 사바다 자자와 베시라도 여와여서 전에 저당 주흉고는 데제제데 베게 제 강나 간사지 콜려야 제 주예당 냠냠 매바이나 시라고 가버려 이나야고 강 베게 지 데제 강시시라고 자이스.
So today, can you hear me in my broken language? Okay. So today we are supposed to talk about mandala. So in terms of inner peace, just inner peace, we have the philosophy from the very simple understanding, very simple, very average understanding, to the most subtle understanding, most subtle, the transformations. We have all the teachings that could be divided into two. That is Tantrayana and Sutrayana. So Tantrayana and Sutrayana. Sutrayana includes the general Mahayana teachings and Theravada teachings as well. So in Tantrayana teachings, which is really profound and vast, kind of unbelievable teachings, and this mandala is belongs these Tantrayana teachings. So, and there is many ways of practice in Tantrayana, and Tantrayana teachings always try to condense the whole thing in a single word, like mantra, and they try to expand to the fullest possible extensions of the universe. So that's why it could be taught in many different ways. It could be taught in sounds, smells, and of course teachings in philosophy and arts. So it could be taught through the 5 objects of 5 sense that all the happiness and sufferings comes from. We have 5 gateways to receive the sufferings and the happiness. Those are 5 gateways to enter the happiness, and the negative and positive things enter from that 5 sense, 5 gates. So we have all the teachings coming from every individual doors entering into you. So that's why the mandala is also a visual art, from where we can be blessed with the deepest understandings of our insight. So mandala tells very deep about Tantrayana, and also it talks about the very general understanding. It really tells us about the very average kind of balancing way of our life, the way how you have to carry kind of the mental, intellectual, and the way how you have to create peace, try to create the inner peace, and how you can remove the obscurations, that is the obscuration that blocks you to see the real existence of the things and phenomena.
저잔다 중국 세대 자마고 베게 고아드 가르레 라와이나 뉴볼 렘바 자다 베게르지 가르세고 취소고다 베게지 답이 제 남는 지역에 망보 여바 나는다 베게 개체한다고 저도지 또 체기다 베게 디나는 바 아마 뉴보도 버질이야 어떤데 질이야니 중국세고 그랬어.
In Tibet we call it kilkur, especially this one, Kilkur literally, in Sanskrit we call it a mandala. So in Kilkur, mandala is translated as Jilko in Tibetan. Jilkur means the centers and surrounding. So that means there's many things surrounded by, there is something you can pick up from the center going through something that is surrounded. So that is what the mandala is. What the mandala means. So it could be understood from many ways. So it's like you're entering from many gateways to reach at the center point. So you're coming from the gates to reach at the destinations. So coming from the very basic paths to enlightenment. So that is really the general explanations of the mandala.
저당기 중국들의 야리 답게 빼만보래 다나 리시 체당 지지 아니야 루딘 체당 중국들의 야와만다 남남 몽보여라 중국 시셔바이나 아니 삼대지 중국 아니 레지 중국 레지를 쓰고 그래 아니 돈세지 중국 레지 중국 시요래.
So in terms of the mandala itself, even in this sand mandala, we have various numbers, countless numbers of the mandala, sand mandala, but also just mandala itself, we again have some different ways to create mandala. Or in sense, we have body mandala, we have mind mandala, and we have drawing mandala, we have karmic mandala, and we have visualizations mandala, stabilization or visualized mandala. So there's body mandala, mind mandala, visualizations, visualized mandala, and outer mandala, inner mandala, and secret mandala. So there's many ways you could create a mandala. So in fact, your body is a mandala and your mind is a mandala, and even your eyes could be a mandala, and it could be a kingdom of all the deities and angels and gods. So this way, you are using every single energies that ever exist in your mind and body, that ever exist even on the single atoms that we belong, so to bring a real transformations. So mandala is kind of, it helps you to transform your mind and body, and we are now the kind of energy that floats the body and the mind in a certain way. That's how we're born as human being. And then from the dimensions of these energies, there is, a lot of transformation could possible. You could be transformed into a celestial body, and you could be transformed yourself into, you're transformed as the king of the universe, or say, become a kind of a god. You become a god by yourself, because every one of us blessed with Buddha natures. So if there is not that kind of a nature, you cannot discover it. In order to discover it, first, there is already something needs to be exist. Otherwise, there's no discover. So the mandala is kind of road maps to reach at that center point, and it helps you to discover more into yourself and transformations. We're just not talking about just this life, but we're talking about eons and eons of life. And eons and eons life change could be happen in a single instance of minutes. And in a single instant of minute, you could have expansions of eons and eons lifetime. And even in a single atoms, there is a universe and a mandala itself. And even in the universe, it could be included in just a mandala. So there's a lot of this kind of complicated energy. Those are taught in the divine understanding and perfect understandings of the waves of energy. How we can change the directions of the energy, and how we can condense it, how concentrate it, and make ourselves, liberated, make ourselves enlightened, make ourselves, free, total removals of any single instance of negatives, pure, to purify ourselves. So there is definitely a way we can be awakened, we can be fully enlightened. So that's what mandala tells. And the mandala itself, seeing and hearing, knowing about mandala itself is helpful. The mandala name itself, seeing the mandala itself, gives you something, sends you some energies, and it makes you open your true natures. So that's how seeing the mandala itself also become a kind of healings.
중국 시기 나니 나라 3대 중국어 써야 돼. 출로려야 되는데 지용고 동전을 가게 매와지. 소소 샘 나눠려야. 다 베게 중국 장사야 곰제네. 로려야 장사 베게 샤와들려야. 아니 3대 중국 시고 딩하나 솔려야. 용 가보 차대 그래. 아니 리지 중국 세야데 양 베길이야 소소 류리야더니 베기 중국야 꿰지니 근데 산로단에야 중국 차상지 샤와들이 리지 중국 지고 그래. 다 레디 중국 세야데 디리 야 레가나야 아니 베기 중국 존이 차나 리모트니 소대들이야 레디 중국 지고 그래. 디 모롱와인 바래 다나 가라서 레 담보도 소리야. 다 다나 가서 띠데 가르쳐 dunseji 중국 세야데 다 베길이야 베기 도 아니 리 상보 데게 베게지 줍자야 데게 베길이야 주당고 강이 차니 그 베기 로야게 제제라니 베게지 데 가르쳐 dunsede야 수진이 되게마 니마 시주조 데려야마 진랍제 되게마 중국로 해서자니 데려야 dunse 중국이고 나라도 단날레 담보도 소리 중국 시기 나니 dunse 중국으로 다 야시 차도 그랬어.
So, out of those many types of mandala, so all of them are equally kind of powerful enough to, open up yourself, to awake yourself to the instinct powers or the true natures of ours, which is the enlightened natures. So, but the Sand Mandala believes to be one of the best visual art that helps most of the beginners to receive the blessings of the mandala, the general mandala. So the saints that we use for creations of a mandala, it comes from comes from earth, and it's what we call a marble. It's grinded marble, grinded sands, and before we take it from the earth, we need to do some rituals, asking the permissions from the nature and blessing of the natures and invocations of natural spirit and some kind of promising, and many things has to happen from the very beginning point, and then we grinded it with ritual ceremonies, and we blessed the saints, and we put the colors. It's a non-toxic colors. It's because we have to be careful with the color, because finally we have to release it to the oceans, to the water flows, and so make sure that these colors has non-toxic properties. Otherwise, it will hurt many other animals. Instead of become healing, it become toxic to them. So anyway, we have to do a lot of transformations, because we have to be so balanced, not too much extreme from the really real existence, and you don't want to jump from the high thinking that you are flying. You have to make sure you associate with the reality and the existence, how things go in. According to that, the movements of the things, the change, the activities of the things and events, we have energy and practice happening in the frames of this, the mode of existence. So that way, the sand has been blessed, and before doing the mandala, we monks need to do a lot of retreat, and only when the monks are good enough to visualize and to dissolutions of power into and releasing the power into the circles, and making the mandala blissful enough, powerful enough to heal others, and the same way it heals you. So then only we are supposed to create the mandala.
저자다 중국의 단다 아주 중국의 저자 도세기 중국 차대 그래. 다 든데기 중국의 야 자당라고 제바이나 담보야 뜻이 되자마 Salman Dandi Zambalaya, Narazo Dandadi Begi, she ne dan, non judges in the get Tamalo Begeji, Rajiji Madruba, Begin Narazungi Nisula Begi, Lawa Naji Chimachi Meba, the Regileani, Rajiji Madruba, Tonsansi was. The Regi Begi Tosangela Sanodan, and they Ganaya, Begi Doje, and the Dojeji Yabaji, Doje Dege and the Sajiti. And Doje Sajit and Sajit de Ganaya, and Chinjung Zusumbaji Yore, the Regi Chizu Zusumbaji Sanodan, and Dinalolaya, and the Pema Sanodan, de Ganaya, that Begi Jungur, and it did not be Jungo Yonsus about the Sandi, the Regilia Sanodan Begi Jungoya Gondana to Jungus.
So you can see the mandala, it's a kind of, flat on the surface or something, but through the imaginations, you are building a kind of the kingdom of enlightenment. It is sometimes exists on the top of the universe, and sometimes it exists in a single atoms. So through your meditations, through the powers of understandings about the reality, first you have to imagine, first you have to see all the existence are empty by its natures. Out of that emptiness, you gathered all the energies into one, that is the thunderbolt, Vajra foundations. And combining all the energies, one Vajra or say the thunderbolt, which plays as a foundation. On top of that, you build the kingdom of enlightenment. So this kind of, it mainly needs the understandings of the emptiness and the unions, what we call it, the unions of. It has to be understood as just the manifestations of the union of emptiness and the compassions. So the natures of our existence, the energies where all of us floated is actually the mind consciousness, the mind, the kind of energy which is basically illusory and empty. And seeing that reality, the mind empty, you can transform everything from there. And we have some scientists that they believe that you can have a diamond in your hand out of this. When you make everything, because of mind power, you can collect the whole the atoms and the heliums and all this stuff. So you can combine all this together by mind power, because the mind power flows with those tiniest, those subtle kind of substances. So the mind has this special power to make the things move and gather together. And so if you are really powerful enough, they said you can make a diamond in your hand. So this is really interesting, and it's really it really talks a lot about the reality and what we meditate and what we visualized, and all the things become empty, and out of emptiness there is energy gathered together like that. So emptiness is not just something that we believe. It has to be established through logic, evidence, proof, and applications of a lot of intellectual things. So basically we are all empty, and we see each other empty, but we still at the same time we hold on to something. That is our misconceptions. So it's very easy to understand in some way. When you find out someone, you will never find it from their existence. Suppose you see me as a Tibetan monkey down there, but when you try to point out me, you'll either point out here and here or somewhere. And when you try to point out, you will never find. And just you find my nose, and nose is not me, nose is not the monk. Like that. Emptiness. Basically, we all are empty by very existence. So, but at the same time, although it's empty, we make it something solid out there, which is not there. So that plays as a foundation where we have attachment, we have anger, we have jealousy. If all these are empty, the things that appear is just illusory, and something kind of a rainbow. It's made up of a rainbow. It's just, there's nothing to hold on to it. You see the empty nature. There's nothing to hold on to it, attach. This is the reality. Because of our misunderstanding about that reality, we have all the negative things, and that kind of negative thoughts creates a negative foundation. The misunderstanding builds negative thoughts, and then negative thoughts creates a solid things out there. Even the car accident, even the mosquito bites you, you will finally see this is the negative consequences of your thought. Energy bounces back to it. Energy, the karma, we talk about the karma. Karma is something people misunderstand it. Karma means, it's your karma, not, I don't care like that. If you think you don't want to care, you're accumulating bad karma. So you have to care about others. The more you care about others, like I mentioned before, there's not a single substances, atoms, things that we are made of, a lot of atoms. There is not a single atoms that is not comes from others. Everything depends on that. Everything comes from the efforts of others. Even of course, food and clothes. Each and every part of my clothes includes a lot of efforts from millions of sentient beings, and your body made up of millions of insects or something. How do you call this? Animals, insects. I don't know. The tiny creatures made up of we are just made up of tiny creatures that we feel like I am, but it's the home kingdoms of another tiny creatures. So we are so energetic. It's made up of millions, billions of sentient beings out there. We have to feed them. We have to treat them well. And if you treat them well, there is a good result, comfortness. And in the same way, everything is going in that way. Business, work, job. If you go to home and wash your clothes and clean your house, nobody's going to pay you. If you go to other rooms and clean some other people's house and wash, you may get some payment. So everything is working that way. Computer science, everything is working in that way. But we feel it is something solid out there, which is unrelated, which is not to be careful myself like that. So we need to open up to that reality and follow the energy, and there is more compassion, and there is more wisdom, and there is enlightenment. This is just something that we can understand right now, where we are kind of unenlightened. We are not enlightened right now. So then we follow that path. There is an unbelievable, paradise or kind of enlightenment, fully enlightenment that we can experience one day.
사베 로야가 된대게야 안지 차조라고 요래 저단 되게 타고 들려야네 되게 나눠려야다 가지게 따지 따지려다 보다 양고 디나려야 rumbu치게 리시 콜로 라제 아니 노브 아니 도제 어떤데게 베게 초질루야 tendege yang ko rimanda wa den yores.
So in the mandala, at the center, sometimes we put the deity itself. Here, this one is also a compassion Buddha's mandala. The one we are creating is also compassion Buddha's mandala. But there is a tiny little bit change, but they could have a sudden changes that has been mentioned in the text. We cannot have a radical change, but they could have some sudden kind of changes in there. So here we put in this mandala, they put the symbol, the lotus symbol, that represents the Avalokiteshvara. So it's not just randomly we put it, but Avalokiteshvara himself appeared in front of the practitioner and blessed with this lotus. And one day, if just in case you have to represent my energy, it could be a lotus. So in that way, the lotus represents the Avalokiteshvara. Basically, lotus represents a lot of things. Lotus, because of I slide a lot. He is tall enough. I'm not tall enough, so it floats here. So I enjoy floating. So you will see a monk floating, not monkey. Yeah. So we put the Avalokite, instead of putting the real image, we put the lotus flower in there. So it starts from the very center point, and you will see such a beautiful circles and the energy circles, the flame circles. So he starts from the center point, so energetic circle, and here we put some symbols. Here basically, if we have a very long time, we can put the images of the Buddha in the center, and also the four side, we can put the Buddha, four Buddhas as well. We basically have to put 4 Buddhas, but instead, since we don't have much time, we put symbols. We can. It will be a good mandala if you can put the symbols. It's easier for the creator of the mandala to finish it in a certain time. So they put it's only the symbols. So here we put one images in the middle, the compassion Buddha, and we put symbols in the foresight. So that kind of energy starts from the centers, and that energy, since we are, because of some reason, maybe this world, the universe, could be seen from some another dimensions. If you are powerful enough, you can switch this dimension to another dimensions. So that's where this energy transformed us from this unenlightened dimension to enlightened dimensions. So that's what the mandala starts from the center and putting the Buddhas, the compassion Buddha, and all those Buddhas. All those Buddhas are basically believed to exist somewhere. But finally, you have to understand those kind of Buddhas are just manifestations of your compassionate energy and wisdom energy. All those stuffs, manifestations of your energy, your instinct, your true natures, because you are, the blessed with the Buddha nature. So you are already Buddha that needs to be discovered. And once you become a one Buddha, the old Buddha would exist in there. So that's how manifestations of the Buddha needs to be meditate and visualize in that way, because that way it helps you to discover, uncover something. In that way, that visualization helps you to, wake up you to that, and visualization helps you to discover yourself into that forms and energies and that, that kind of powers. So this way, seeing the image itself gives you some instant informations you might not notice, but it gives you something. That's how it heals.
저잔다 되게 졸로 될야다 버게 메다쇼 메다시 그거 아니 저잔 데 중국에서 데 시라거든요 베 자침보다 네바침보 시라 차도요래 된인데 자마 지 중국에서 자다 암조고 튜바다 한지 버게 미긴 통화다 반제와다 보다 대장간에 베 시라가니 지 레삼보 사야다 한지 소소로야 베게 주 구야도 베 베밀로도 주야다 되게야 미세기 콜이야 추추쇼 예시고 콜이야.
So each and every colors you can see, and every single symbols has a great meanings to complete the whole, to complete the circle of energy that ever exist in this universe. So we put all the symbols. We need to put all the symbols, and so it construct. It's made up of those symbols, and it could be seen through 3 dimensions. And when you see the 3-dimension mandala, it's like a house. It's like your body is a house, and your mind is a house, and it's not something the house that we build with the bricks and all the stuffs, but it is an enlightened house. And that this is the purifications of there's 2 ways of enlightening: environmental enlightening and mentally enlightening. We need to enlighten both of them. And if we are fully enlightened, we see all of other sentient beings, angels and Buddhas, all the stuff, and maybe magic things, all the stuff, powers and sorrows, everything, we see that. And at the same time we will feel what kind of thoughts that's going on in others as well. So how this way, in that way, the Buddha and enlightened person can help others to enlighten themselves. So this kind of mandala completes whole the whole set of the energy circle that ever exists.
네들이 디세 조서 디세 문도 자다 대인도 자마 사말로들이 베 도나시오 지진인데 니야도 제와들이야 아니 타말로야 또 제스슈고요.
So we don't have much time, so we actually the time is over, and so we wish we have more times to explain each and every symbols, but the things that we explained are really good enough for you to at least understand what it is, and it really helps you to knowing the significance, the purpose is also more helpful you to receive the powers and the energies from the mandala. So thank you so much, you guys being so patient. Thank you coming here.